There's an amazing difference between this year's project here in El Provenir versus last year's project. As soon as we got off the bus when we arrived here at the village, you could sense the difference. You could sense the spiritual difference in the village. We were greeted by the entire village, just a wonderful group of children and dads and moms, but there just seemed to be a presence of the Spirit of the Lord here.
Thank you for opening up your hearts.
Once we arrived, I was able to meet Herman, the pastor, and he's a man of God. He has raised up a group of godly men. He's not intimidated by impact, by the presence of the team being here. He welcomed us. He sees the value that we are bringing to him, to his village, and to his church. Every morning we have a Bible study with 15 to 20 of the men, and they are sponges for the gospel. We're studying the Gospel of John. They contribute, they ask questions, they are intrigued by the beauty of the simple gospel.
Después de estas cosas había una fiesta de los judíos.
There's a family here who kind of adopted me, as if I was part of their family, as if I was like a lost uncle or a brother or something. I'm actually part of their family. Actually, come here. This is the young lady right here. She's my friend, and she's part of my family now. Her and her dad and her sisters made me part of their family, and she's very special and a sweet girl. These are what the families are like. They accept you, they draw you in, they place you at their homes. We don't get that.
If we would have just came into this village and tried to share our message, I believe they would have seen it as us trying to force our culture and our beliefs upon them, and we would not have been as well received. But because we came in with a purpose to meet a basic need of clean water, we were able to get in the trenches, dig, bury, glue pipes together and provide clean water to the people of this village. They were so overly thankful that we tore down all of those reservations and all those walls they would have naturally put up otherwise, and we were truly able to make a connection with these people.
I talked to many of the people in the village, and the water project has changed their life. Over the many years, decades past, they have sent their children and their women to the watering holes to gather contaminated water and bring it back. Now they have water coming up to each of the homes. There are 53 homes and over 300 people living in this village. So it's made a major impact on the life of the village, the life of the children, the life of the women, the health of all of the people in the village. I love the impact that bringing men from San Antonio to Honduras has upon those men who come. The men on this trip are seeing an entirely different kind of life. They're seeing what looks like poverty, but in fact, these people have food and clothing and shelter. They are happy, they are content. And our men are able to get to know them and laugh with them and joke with them and work with them and experience a whole different kind of lifestyle than we know in San Antonio.
The idea that a man wakes up in the morning with the sun and he works hard and he works together with other people in his community, and then he eats lunch and takes a nap and works a little bit in the afternoon and then spends time with his family. And everyone in the community supports that lifestyle. They don't have any more than they need, but they don't have any less than they need. And they take sincere satisfaction, sincere amounts of pleasure that they can derive from just the company of each other.
And it's genuine. It's a genuine care and concern and love and sense of community for each other. On top of that, these kids are fascinated by by the word and getting into it. And so that part has been amazing to see too, just little glimpses of them, of them getting to dig into the word and listen to it and be just enthralled by what they're hearing.
De un hombre que se llamaba Saqueo. ¿Cómo se llamaba? Saqueo.
Mighty follows the impact team, and one of the things that she's responsible for is holding like a miniature vacation Bible school with the kids. So she does an amazing job of bringing activities, things that kids can put together. They sing songs where they sing along. Really the objective is making sure that the kids understand that Jesus loves them. She does an amazing job with that because she really gets those kids to engage, and she reads them Bible stories, and then she puts little games together that align with the Bible story so they can begin to see a real clear picture of who Jesus is. You know, the kids, they don't get to see a lot of male engagement in their lives, and so she leverages me to allow them to see a different side of what a man is, right, in terms of how a man engages with a kid, that you can be tender, you can be engaged, you can be hands-on, and you can have fun while learning about Jesus and playing games with them. They're not accustomed to that. They go to school up to the age of about 12. Once they quit going to school, you know, they start honing in on those, you know, living skills. The boys start learning how to work and preparing for the fields. The girls hone in on their skills at home to be housekeepers and focus on the domestic aspects of their lives, and they're basically getting ready to be a mom and a housewife. And so it's really important what she does and how she brings the whole impact ministry, how she kind of brings it in by teaching them about Jesus through her activities, through her sing-alongs, and through her Bible readings. And you know, I get to be a part of that, and that's pretty amazing.
I believe that the greatest effect that a water missions trip has upon the men that come is the discipleship of those men. We came to bring pipes and water, but these men go home with an enriched understanding of Jesus Christ and what He's doing in this world.
A couple days ago, Ben and I and Eddie decided we were going to go to the top of some of these mountains in the area because the views from here are just so great. So we wanted to go to the top of a mountain and get another perspective on it. And as we were walking through the village, we came across a compañero who asked if he could come with us, and we talked to him a little bit. And he said he would take us where we needed to go. And it turns out something was lost in translation, because instead of going to the top of the mountain to see everything, we went to the very bottom of the valley because he thought we wanted to see the source of the water, the water spring where all of the water was coming from that we've been working on. And so instead of going to the very top, we went to the very bottom, and then from there we walked to the very top once we got everything sorted out. And it was a little irritating to know that we had spent about 45 minutes to an hour going out of our way, and then to get the full effect of that steep mountain from the very bottom to the very top. So it was arduous on the way up there. But as we walked, it was an opportunity for us to get to know him through conversation. And he told us a lot about himself and his family, and the further we walked, the more time we spent together, the more he opened up to us. And by the time we got to the top of the mountain, he was telling us some of the most intimate, you know, struggles he'd had in his life and with his family, and specifically in his marriage. And we just were able to use that as an opportunity to talk to him about Christ and some of our own struggles, and how we can come alongside of each other and help each other. And I realized that had we done exactly what we wanted to do, we would not have had that extra time to develop a relationship with him that would have been sufficient for him to open up to us. And so that 45 minutes to an hour extra that we spent going someplace that we thought we didn't want to go ended up being the reason that we were able to get exactly where we wanted to be as an objective on this trip with that compañero specifically. And since then we've had a close relationship with him, and I've spoken to him several times after that, and excited to see that he's very hungry to learn more about Christ and having a relationship with him.
On work day one, I met Jose, one of my compañeros. He had the biggest smile and was very happy to welcome us all here. We began to start work, and I remember Mark had told us all to engage early, so I went right in and just asked him about Jesus. It caught him off guard. He was a little shy at first, but I talked with him about the gospel, explained some things. He seemed to be very thankful that I was willing to do this, but he had reservations. Yesterday, at the start of the day, I told him I understood what his position was. I know how he felt, but he's my brother and I'm not giving up on him. So we spent the day working together and talking, and I was invited over to his house last night. So I went over and sat with him for a couple hours to get to know more about his life and to share more of the gospel, which resulted in him giving his life to Christ last night. For me, it was the first time anybody had done that. So I was overly excited. I was thankful. His entire family came out and they were all thankful they had given their lives years earlier. So this huge weight was lifted off of this family in an instant. It was just an overwhelming experience, but one I'll never forget.